Hello. Today in my storytelling playlist, I'm going to talk about some strange food anecdotes, and most of these are exotic foods from Asia. I've lived in Asia for the last, well, since about 2009, not for that entire time, but I would say for about 10 years of the last uh, almost 15 years, I guess, I've lived here. So I'm going to start with a few things that people eat in Korea, and then, because that's where I spent most of my time, and I'm also going to discuss some things about Myanmar and also Thailand. So let's start with Korea. One food here that is, in my opinion, disgusting, and I've never tried because I will not, is called bondegi. And bondegi is a larva of a silkworm, and it's one of those foods that even in Korea, many people cannot stomach. I have seen people eat it. It's disgusting. I have students that I teach English to out here, and I often bring up bondegi to them, and we kind of joke around about it. They call me bondegi teacher sometimes, which I think is pretty adorable. But when I ask the class, if there's like 8 of them in the class, let's say, maybe 1 or 2 like bondegi, sometimes 3, but it's definitely like an acquired taste, and not everyone here digs it. So the strange thing is, like, this sounds kind of disgusting, but sometimes you can see old women, in Korea they're often called ajumas or hamani. They have carts and they kind of wheel them around with street food. But a lot of them have bondegi, like a big bowl of bondegi that they're sort of stirring, and it's warm, right? And then the other thing they have is like Turkish ice cream, like a Korean style Turkish ice cream. So it's really strange thing together. And bondegi is this thing where, like, you're walking down the street, you don't even see the cart, but suddenly you get this smell and you're just like, oh no, and you want to run like in the other direction. It is completely disgusting. One thing that I have tried here that was pretty disgusting too was octopus. I've had it a few different ways here. Every time I've had it, it's been cooked. But it's usually in a spicy sauce, and it's just so rubbery I can't really enjoy it. It doesn't even have much of a taste. It just kind of, it's like you're chewing rubber. But a friend of mine, when we first got here, he wanted to try the moving octopus, which is they dice it up when it's still alive, and they put it on a plate, and it's kind of going like this, and you're supposed to swallow it as fast as possible, really, because it will stick in your throat and kill you, possibly. So he wanted to try that one night, and I went with him. I wasn't going to do it. No way. I'd probably vomit like immediately if I tried it. But I went with him and a few Korean women, and that were friends of ours, and they said, well, if you're not interested in that, why don't you just get some fish soup? And I was like, okay, I'm not really sure if I'm into fish soup, but it sounds better than the octopus. So they ordered the soup, and they brought it to the table, and that's when I realized it was fish head soup. So there's like these 3 giant fish heads, like, looking up at you out of the soup. And I did my best to be an ambassador for America, but I really wanted to run out the door. It didn't taste bad, I guess, but in my experience, I don't really think soup and fish go together. But I mean, it wasn't terrible. So from there, I'm going to move on to, I was in Myanmar one time on vacation with this same friend, the one that ate the octopus, and he really likes exotic food. So he's like, "Do you want to try snake?" And I'm like, "All right." So we were on this like street food sort of area where there was like a couple of low tables, and we were having like some beers, and they would take the snake and they would put it on the barbecue, and they would kind of turn it a few times, and then they took it off the barbecue, and then the guy had like a big cleaver, and he just like chop, 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 and then he gives it to us. So you take the chopsticks and you put it in your mouth. You gotta like chew on it and get around the spine, and then you have to spit the spine out. Well, I don't recommend it. It's not very good. And I often wonder if maybe I, should not have eaten it, but I did, and I'm still here to tell about it, so I guess it's okay. But I don't recommend it. The last thing I want to mention is something I saw a lot when I was in Thailand. And again, I never tried it because I'll be honest, in a lot of ways I'm adventurous, but when it comes to food, I just can't do it usually. It's just not something I'm into. I like what I like, and occasionally I can try a dish from another place as long as it has sort of the components that I enjoy. In this case, it was a stick with a scorpion on it. They were kind of like black, and they would sell them on the streets, like the party streets. And, the strange thing is when I was there for quite a while. I lived there for a little while, and I never actually saw a Thai person eating them. So it kind of made me wonder, I mean, I might be wrong about this, but it made me wonder if it was, because I saw it mainly in the tourist areas. So I'm wondering if it was just this thing that they kind of put out to see if tourists would do, and they don't actually eat it, or maybe few of them eat it. But I never saw anybody eating it when I was there. And there's other things. In Vietnam they put, I think it's like a snake inside alcohol. Didn't try it. Don't want to. There's a bit of strange food in the U.S., but not anything like in Asia. So if you ever come to Asia, be prepared, because you're going to encounter a lot of things. And people think like sushi or sashimi or something is, a little exotic, but it goes way more exotic. Eels, all kinds of, like if you're walking down the street here and you see tanks, there's all kinds of crazy things swimming around in the tanks. And they just grab it out of the tank and chop and cook it up, and there it is. So yeah, I would say that's about it. But if you come to Asia, beware. Anyway, I will have some more videos in this playlist, and if you like this video or want to hear more stories or have some recommendations for things you would like me to talk about, either about my time in Korea or in Detroit or when I lived in Oregon or my travels around Asia, you can let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe, and have a good day. Take care.